Okay then, here we are at day 5 of the cruise. This one's going to be a bit different because I'm not on my phone, I'm on my sister's tablet. I think it's an iPad. Because I've already used up the space on my phone again, but I forgot to put it on the data on my mum's computer. So I have to keep the videos on my phone for the time being. Of course, my brother's computer's in this room, but no, you have to install special software because it's a Mac, and you can't put non-Apple stuff on the Mac without some random software because all this anti-competitive malarkey. I'm not a fan. I may have said that last video. I don't remember. That was yesterday. But anyway, today we went to Cadiz in Spain. Now, I'll start off by saying the night's sleep. I suppose we'll start off with there. That was fine. It was the old standard again. It's still too hot, but I've kind of learned to live with it. Had to get up pretty early, so we could take full advantage of the day. Which I'm not a fan of. It takes me a while to fall asleep, so I didn't get much sleep. But anyway, so what happened there? There was breakfast. Nothing worthy of note there. I did that, and that was fine. So anyway, what about Cadiz itself? Well, first thing we did there is, we had no tour this time. We had a tour in Lisbon, but we didn't have a tour in Cadiz because, those cost extra, and don't need a tour every time. And also, my dad speaks Spanish, and so he figured I'll be the tour guide in a sense. You can walk around and interact with anyone. So, here's noise going on. Yeah, I'm recording the video slightly earlier than the previous ones, so my siblings are still awake. They can probably hear me, whereas in the previous ones they've been asleep. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Cadiz. I think the first thing we did there is explored some markets. I wasn't anything notable to me. It was just a market, but my dad was amazed at how sleek and clean it looked and everything, and whatever. I didn't care that much. Well, something worth noting is that Cadiz, compared to Lisbon, seemed kind of wealthier. Everything's kind of more clean and in order, and there weren't as many beggars and that sort of thing. I wasn't expecting that, but there you go. That was the surprise of the day. Now, what? Yeah. So, after looking at the market, went in, got some churros. I'm a big fan of churros. The churros were good. Well, it didn't have sugar on them. That was weird. It was kind of a weird mixture of sweet and savory. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to have food like that, but I shouldn't get too hung up about the food. That's probably a bit boring to talk about. So what we did next, after eating some churros, is I went to this cathedral. As my brother's idea. It's like, let's go to the cathedral. So I went to this cathedral, and they had these tour guides. You grab the things and you put them to your ear, and you press the numbers, and they tell you about the various things you're looking at. So you go in this cathedral, and there's basically all these artworks along the wall. And you look at one artwork, and you press the button, and it tells you kind of the history of the artwork, what the artwork's meant to be depicting, and all that sort of thing. Now, so there's... this lasts for, I don't know, it must have been an hour or something. My family seemed to like it. I was really bored by it. I'm not a big fan of art in general. I don't think art is bad. I just don't find it interesting all that much. So, it reminded me of my lectures at uni where I couldn't pay attention. They were speaking words and I just wasn't taking them in. It was, I just don't. It's just so boring. So boring. But whatever. After that, we ascended to the top of the cathedral, walked up all these huge steps, and that was interesting. You go to the top of the cathedral, and you can basically look out across all of Cadiz. An interesting thing I noticed at the top of Cadiz is just almost all the buildings are white, just completely white. I don't know why, but they're just white. Every building's white. It's just really strange. The thing I wasn't surprised that you can clearly see that in Spain and Portugal they have this weird thing where, for whatever reason, the building architecture is just, I don't know how to describe it. I guess misshaped cube is how I described it. All the buildings look like cubes. I mean, none of the buildings seem to match each other in size. So they're all differently sized cubes, and cubes of, say, different MCs. Like this building has more length and depth, and the building next to it's the opposite. So there's all these mismatching cubes everywhere. I don't know why they look like cubes. I find it kind of weird. I had a discussion with my family at one point about the architecture, and I think my parents were saying that they preferred the this sort of Mediterranean architecture to what you'd find in, say, Britain, and I was saying that I prefer the more Germanic style. I don't know why. I think it just kind of looks more serious, like you mean business. Yeah, so I'm a fan of. I know I'm always more a fan of just Northern Europe in general than Southern Europe. I don't know why, but it's just my preference. Although, fun fact, Spain does have the highest life expectancy in the world, so they're clearly doing something right. So I'll say that for the Spanish. Anyway, so what did we do after the cathedral? We just walked around and had lunch. Nothing else to say there. Alright, so my siblings had some fish at lunch, and there was just so many goddamn bones. This is something that I don't like. Food with bones. I just find this unacceptable. If you go to a restaurant and you get some food, they should take the bones out. That shouldn't be up to you. You're paying enough for the goddamn service. I think I read some of that. Typically, when you go to a restaurant, 30% of what you pay is what you would pay for the same food if you bought it yourself. So you're paying a lot for the service of making it, and that should include getting rid of bones. I'm so sick of bones in my food. I mean, I can take this further. Like, steaks bother me, with all the fat bits you have to cut off. I shouldn't have to do that. That should be part of the service. You're there to have a meal, to have a good experience. You shouldn't waste your time with goddamn bones. I mean, chicken wings, I never eat them. Because bones. I just don't like the bones. Anyway. Yeah, so that's just, one of my strong feelings out of the way. So after that, we just kind of did the wandering around. I mean, my dad's idea of a holiday is to just basically walk around for hours until you collapse from exhaustion. I wouldn't say we went quite that far. In fact, I was surprised how quickly we got back on the ship. The ship left late in the evening. As in left Cadiz late in the evening. So, we did some walking around. Before I forget, we did try and go to some sort of Roman ruins. My brother's a big fan of Roman history, and then it turned out they were shut. So you could look through them like through a hole in a fence, but that was it. That was sort of disappointing. But anyway, so we then left. We got back on the ship. What happened after that? We ended up playing some more Trivial Pursuit. My parents seem to love that game. I should point out that this Trivial Pursuit we have, because there's still more days in this cruise, and I'm actually going to play some more Trivial Pursuit, so I guess it's worth talking about it. The Trivial Pursuit we have is it's the Australian edition. I got that game in Australia. It was like my 13th birthday present or something. Got it in Australia, and it was the kind of 2003 edition, I think. Now, so this gives my my parents an inherent advantage because in my mum's case, she spent her whole life in Australia, and in my dad's case, he spent most of his life in Australia. And so they have all this knowledge about Australian affairs, whereas me, I have spent most of my life in Australia, but I left when I was 14, and I didn't really pick up stuff about the world around me, until I was kind of that age. So if I played British Trivial Pursuit, I'd be better at it. a lot of stuff in, say, news or literature and those categories, they have a very Australian focus. So I'm quite bad at that. The more general categories like, say, science, I could do better at, because science is by its very nature a lot more universal. Although that being said, I actually won the game we played today. Well, I say won. I got the most pieces of pie before we stopped playing. So I guess that counts as a victory. I was quite happy there. I have been known in the past to, when I win a board game, I just, jump up and run around and cheering, because I get very competitive in games, and I can be a very bad winner. But in this case, I'm in a crowded place, and so I was on good behavior, and also, I'm not a child anymore. So after that, we went and had dinner. Again, as I said before, nothing really of note, just had dinner, ate it. But there is actually something worth discussing here, and that's the waiters. Now, they've done a thing, because what we've done is, there's various restaurants on the cruise, and what was arranged, what my dad arranged, was to have, to book the same restaurant every evening, and we have a reserved table every evening. And what this leads to is we have the same waiters every evening. So every evening we have the same waiters. And it's quite impressive what they've done here, is that, I don't know if the waiters have been instructed to do this, or this is their own initiative, but they kind of tried to, build a sort of rapport with us. So, we end up talking to these waiters. He jokes about giving my dad rhubarb, because he hates rhubarb. I hate rhubarb as well. Giving my sister sultanas, because one of those is a sultana pudding, and she absolutely hates sultanas. Stuff like that. We ended up talking to, I guess, the main waiter. The weird thing, I should point out that all the waiters in this restaurant are Indian, I think. South Asian at any rate, but I'm pretty sure they're all Indian. I don't know why they're all Indian, but, because, this is a British cruise liner. There's no inherent reason they should all be Indian. But yeah, they're all Indian, I think. This guy, I know this guy was Indian, because we were kind of talking to him about it, and I think he's from Goa, if I recall, the part of India that was owned by Portugal. And the talk was mainly about cricket, because my family big fans of cricket. I'm not. I find that game incredibly boring. But yeah, the guy was saying that in Goa they live and breathe cricket. They absolutely love the game. So there's a lot of talk about that. You seem to have big respect for Australia as a team, because there was a time when in the world of cricket, Australia just demolished all competition. It was mainly the 90s. Just absolutely annihilated everything. But anyway, the interesting thing is that the guy, his name was Bruce. Apparently his dad is just a big fan of Bruce Willis films, so he named his kid Bruce. That was weird. But it was just a fun fact. But anyway, that was dinner, and then we went back in our cabin for an early night, because we don't spend much time in the next destination tomorrow. So we're going to get up bright and early. So in that sense, it's a bit of a mistake that I'm making this video, but there you go. So yeah, I'd say all in all, I guess it's a more boring video. I don't think I've mentioned anything worthy of note, but that's the nature of the beast. Some of these videos are going to be more interesting than others. I don't know. Maybe you, the viewer, will find this video interesting. I don't know. I don't try to second guess people, because in my experience, I'm very bad at trying to know what other people are judging a situation. So yeah, that's I'm rambling on too long. So tomorrow we go to Gibraltar. I'm very intrigued by that, because it's just a kind of a weird entity where basically one country owns a bit of land far away near another country. For those of you who are very bad at your geopolitical knowledge, Gibraltar is an island on the south of Spain owned by Britain. So it's got a weird kind of cultural mishmash of English and Spanish, or British and Spanish, I should say. So that'll be very interesting to look at. For some reason, the ship was only there for a few hours, so we'll have to look at it very quickly. But yeah, I'm very interested to see OLB. That's probably the destinations I was most interested by on this cruise are Gibraltar and Casablanca. So I'm very interested to see what we'll find there. But anyway, my God, it's been 15 minutes. I didn't realize these videos would be that long. I thought that they'd be like 2 minutes when I made them, 2 minutes a day. But no, this is 15 minutes. God. Yeah, okay, I'll end it now. Thank you for watching, whoever you are, and I hope you found it interesting.